Okay, today in Lesson 9, estimating lengths using scientific notation. Today in class you're going to be choosing the unit that's appropriate size for that large or small number. Just to review, again kind of from Friday's class, what is scientific notation? Scientific notation is when you have a letter, C, times 10 to a power, where C is always going to be a number that is between less than 10 and also greater or equal to 1. So C is going to be a number between 1 and 10, and N is going to always be an integer. The exponent N will always be a positive number if you are working with a very large number. And by large, we really mean any number that is greater than 1. The N will end up being a negative number. And this is when we are working with a decimal. So any number between 0 to 1. Now, I want you to look at these three numbers in the boxes and tell me what they're equal to in standard form. So think about where the decimal is and how many places you're moving it. The first one we should be moving 3 places to the right. The next one we're going to move 4 places to the right. And the last one, our decimal point is back here behind the 30,000, and we are going to be moving it 1 place. All 3 of those are going to actually be equal to 3,000. All 3 of them equal 3,000. How did we find the number? Well, in the first one, the power of 3, or our exponent I should say, our exponent of 3, when we look at that exponent of 3, tells us to move the decimal 3 places to the right. So we are moving it 3 places to the right. In the second one, the exponent of 4 tells us move to the right 4 places. And if we move our decimal 4 places to the right, we are ending up with 3,000. And the very last one, the third one, is telling us, since the exponent is a -1, here we are going to move the decimal 1 place, and this time instead of to the right, to the left. Are all 3 equivalent? That means, are they equal? Yes. All 3 of them are equal or equivalent as we look at those. So it now asks which of the 3 is written in scientific notation and to explain. So if we are looking at these, remembering our rule, scientific notation is always a number between 1 and 10 times 10 to a power. Which is written and explain? This one is not. Why? Because the number times the power, 30,000, is not between 1 to 10. Is this one scientific? Number between 1 and 10 times 10 to a power? Yes. Is this one? No. The reason this one is not. 0.3 is again not between 1 to 10. So thinking about when we know something is written in scientific notation. This time we're looking at which one is greater. And the next part kind of asks us how much greater. So here we're looking at 8 times 10 to the -3. -3 is telling us to move it over 3 places. So this is actually equal to 0.008. This one is telling us to move the decimal that is behind the 4 1 place to the left, which is equal to 0.4. So if we are looking at which one is actually greater here, we should be seeing that the greater one, the larger one, is going to be .008 is less than 0.4. So what is our greater value? 0.4 is going to be greater than the 0.8. And it says, well, how much greater are we talking about? And here's what we want to be thinking about. The larger one is 50 times. How did we get that? We are simply going to take our 0.4 and divide it by 0.008. When you put this in your calculator, dividing 0.4 by 0.008, it comes out 50. So again, when we say how much greater, this one is 50 times greater. I often will have the students ask me, could we subtract the two? When we're thinking how much greater, we are looking at doing the division to find how many times bigger it is. So in your homework tonight, you're going to be doing similar to yesterday. This is your C9 worksheet. Again, find the decimal notation, find the scientific, rank it, okay? And again, like the worksheet yesterday, this first one is going to be from the decimal notation. So from this column, find a smaller number, take it times 20 to get the larger one. And then when we look at the last question, for these two blanks, we are going to be dealing specifically with the scientific notation. So again, find a number in this column, take it times 500, play with your calculator to find the new number. The other thing I want you to be aware of is that you are going to have a worksheet. It is page, I want to say maybe 94 and 96, and maybe 64. I can't remember the page. So the sub will hand this worksheet out to you. The first page is definitely exponent rules. So this is just a little more practice, just because with the test will be coming up, not this week, but the following week. So just some exponent practice. And then the back side of that is working with scientific notation. And the scientific notation that you want to look at is you are specifically doing there's 4 sections. You're going to do the first and the second and the 4th section of that paper. So when I talk about that paper and I say the 4 sections, it's kind of like a boulder line through it, and it divides it into the 4 sections. You need to do the first one, you need to do the second section, and do the last section. Do not cross this off. We'll be coming back to it later. So if you need to pause the video to get out your worksheets or to get out your paper, do that. But right now, the sub is going to pause the video so that you can take a homework quiz. And the homework quiz is simply going to ask you a question about scientific notation. I'm going to give you 2 numbers, a large one and a small one. So put your name on the half sheet of paper. The half sheets of paper, remind, if you need to help the sub out, is right in the front of the room or towards the back. There's a pile. You're going to pass those out. Everyone put your name and the period. And once all those are handed out, you can unpause this. And here's the quiz. Please put quiz C8. Change these numbers into scientific notation. What I would like you to make sure you do is, as you're watching this and you have this on the screen, pause the video and please, please, please make sure you write down the question. So number 1, write this large number with all the zeros, and then put an equal, and your answer will be back here in scientific notation. Same thing here. Write out the question, put it on your paper, pause the video, and we will be correcting these. I'll correct them, and hopefully all goes well.